Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video with part 4 of this positional tier list video series that I've been making. We've got a bunch of tiers here: MVP candidate, All-NBA, All-Star, Fringe All-Star. I replaced gooder from last time with great because duh, good and decent. We've got 32 power forwards here, all 30 teams starting power forward, and then a couple that were kind of in the mix. You know, they might not play power forward, they may. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to ask, like, why isn't this player here? Why isn't that one? If they're not in this one, they're probably either in the small forward video or going to be in the center video. I promise. I didn't forget, people. Leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy. Let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with, I'm going to go with Jimmy Butler first because there were like 10 comments on the last video asking where Jimmy Butler was. So right now the Heat don't have a power forward on their roster. So right now their small forward's probably going to be Martin, and Jimmy's probably going to play the 4 unless they make an acquisition. But with Jimmy Butler, he is an All-NBA caliber player. He could theoretically be an MVP candidate, but I don't know if the Heat are going to be that good. And I just think there are better players on this tier list than Jimmy Butler at this point at the position. But Jimmy's really, really good. He can be one of the best players on a championship caliber team. We saw it in 2020. We saw it this past year where the Heat were 1 game away from making it to the finals. Jimmy's incredible. I don't need to explain that to you probably at all. Next, we've got Jabari Smith, who I'm going to put in the good tier. Sometimes I don't rank these rookies, but for these top couple guys, I'm going to try and rank them. I think Jabari Smith's going to be pretty solid. I think he's going to have a bit more of a down year compared to some of the other rookies, just because he's a guy that's more of a off-ball player. He's not going to be as ball dominant as like a Jaden Ivey or a Paolo Banchero. Jabari Smith is more so going to, I think, get better as the guards around him get better. Kevin Porter Jr. is solid, but I'm still not sure if he's a franchise caliber point guard. Jalen Green also is a bit more of a scorer, so he's not going to get probably the best caliber touches. I think he's still going to be incredible defensively, which is really his calling card, but I'm going to put him in good for right now. Then we've got Karl Anthony Towns, who is also going to be all NBA. He is going to have a great season, I think, at the power forward. Like, some people are going to say, oh, why isn't Cat a center? Gobert, of course, is going to play center for them while Cat plays the 4. He can space the floor. Some people are worried about him defensively. I think he'll be okay. Maybe not great, but I think he'll be fine having a guy like Gobert next to him, as well as Jaden McDaniels, who's solid defensively at the 3. Cat's going to continue to do what Cat does, and he's going to probably be in the All-NBA conversations. Christian Wood is going to be... I'm going to put him in fringe all-star for right now. I may move him up to all-star. I think playing alongside Luka, he's a guy that is definitely going to make all-star conversations at least. He's going to average over 20 points per game. He's going to start at the 4 with JaVale McGee at the 5 is what I would assume. He's going to fit really well, I think, next to Luka as a stretch 4. I think this is going to probably be the best season of his career coming up, and it could lead to him making an all-star game. Lauri Markkanen, I'm going to put in... I'll put him in great, I think. Lauri Markkanen was really solid this past year playing the small forward for the Cavaliers. I don't expect him to do that again. I think he'll be a 4 for the Utah Jazz. Maybe. We don't even know who's going to be starting on that team right now with all of the different pieces in place, but I think he's really solid. He's a guy that can, you know, stretch the floor for you. Not great defensively, but he's a really solid scorer. He's playing really well in Eurobasket right now, too. Lauri's all around just pretty solid. John Collins, I'm going to put in also fringe all-star next to Christian Wood. I feel like they're similar players where it feels like we're waiting for a breakout from them, and both of them have the chance to do so this upcoming season, both with new guard situations, DeJounte Murray going to Atlanta. In the case of John Collins, I think him as a playmaker could help John Collins take his level to a new game, or new level, alongside, of course, Trae Young, who's an incredible playmaker too, so maybe we see him make an all-star jump, but for right now, he's kind of on that fringe. Then we get to Zion Williamson, who I'm kind of tempted to put an MVP candidate. You might see a video about that potentially in the next coming days, but I'm going to put him at all NBA for right now, just because I think there's a couple guys who are like a tier above him at this point. Zion is a top 15 player when healthy. He averaged 27 points per game last time he was healthy. Had one of the best paint scoring seasons of all time as a 20-year-old. People forget how good Zion is, and I think he's going to remind them this upcoming season. Then we get to Cam Johnson, who I'm going to put in good, I think. Cam could end up starting at the power forward potentially this season at some point for the Phoenix Suns. Right now it's Jay Crowder who is on this list. We'll get to him. But Cam Johnson, he was in 6th Man of the Year conversations. He's a nice spark plug off the bench. He does a bit of everything. He needs to improve a bit defensively, but overall, he's a pretty solid option there. Patrick Williams is going to go indecent. I think he is capable of taking a jump, but I'm a bit worried about the Bulls situation right now. Of course, you've got DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, who are very ball-dominant players. They don't have a guard in Lonzo Ball who could be pretty good at setting P-Will up for opportunities. I do think he's going to have a pretty solid season, but I'm a bit worried about the Bulls situation. Then we've got Jalen Smith, who I'm going to also put in decent, I think. He's a guy that's going to start for the Indiana Pacers this upcoming season, I would imagine, alongside Miles Turner, of course, Benedict Mathurin, Buddy Hield, and Tyrese Halliburton. I think he could have a pretty good year. I'm excited to see what he's capable of, but for right now, he's not one of their cornerstone pieces. Then we've got Scotty Barnes, who I'm also going to put in Fringe All-Star. Scotty Barnes is great defensively. He can play make. He can score. He's got to get that efficiency up a bit, but I believe he's going to have a better season than last year and make some All-Star conversations. Then we've got PJ Tucker, who I'm going to put in this good tier here. PJ's stats are never going to jump off the page, but his impact is incredible. I think it's going to be immediately felt for this Sixers team that I'm really high on coming into this season. He's going to immediately add a lot to their team, especially when the playoffs roll around. PJ Tucker is a player that any number of playoff teams would love to have on their roster. Then I'm going to put Al Horford in this. Maybe I should move Lauri Markkanen. I might move Lauri Markkanen down to be on. I'm going to move him down for right now because I'm going to put Al Horford on this great tier, and I think Al Horford is better than Lauri Markkanen. Al Horford is, of course, great defensively. He was one of the best defenders on that great Celtics team last year, and he's going to do the exact same this year, starting at the 4 alongside Rob. Stretch the floor. He's a great playmaker. He really is a lot more integral to that Celtics team than I think some people give him credit for, and I hope Al just continues to get his flowers. Giannis, he's the best player in the world. We don't need to talk more about that. Jeremy Grant, I'm also going to put in this great tier, I think, alongside Al Horford. His numbers, once again, are going to jump off the page a little more than a guy like Horford, but the impact that Horford makes for his team is incredible. I do think Jeremy Grant is going to have a good year for the Blazers, but of course, you know, there's Simons, there's Dame, Josh Hart grabs a lot of boards, Nurkic is going to grab boards too. I think Jeremy Grant's going to take a bit more of a backseat as that third option. I do think he'll still have a pretty good year in a really solid Blazers starting lineup, but, you know, I don't think he's going to be putting up his Detroit Pistons numbers. Aaron Gordon, I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put in good for right now. I could maybe move him to great. His shooting isn't all that. He's really solid defensively, and he's a good connector piece, which is why I think I'm going to leave him here. I think he plays a similar role to PJ Tucker with a bit better numbers, where he's not going to really, you know, shine in terms of stats, but he makes a solid impact on that Nuggets team. Then for Kristaps, I'm going to put him in great. I think he has a solid season next to Bradley Beal. Monte Morris, you know, as the starting point guard does worry me a little bit in terms of him getting good shots set up. He's got to be more aggressive down low. Also, there's always injury concerns. We'll see with Kristaps. You know, there's a lot of different ways his upcoming season could go, but I'm hopeful that he can have a pretty solid year. I'm going to put Paolo Banchero in this similar tier. I think Paolo is going to probably end up winning Rookie of the Year. He looked incredibly polished offensively in the Summer League. I almost said Pistons. Magic don't really have a solidified number one scorer at this point. They've got Franz Wagner. They've got guys like Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. They've got Wendell Carter Jr. Like, they've got solid pieces, but no one has really established themselves as that true number one. I think Paolo will, and I think he'll have a great season alongside it. Julius Randle, I'm going to put in this great tier. He could move. If we were talking about last season, he could probably move down, but I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think bringing in a playmaker like a Jalen Brunson is going to do a lot for Julius Randle. He's not going to have to handle the ball as much. I think RJ Barrett could take a jump too. So I'm looking for a pretty solid season from Julius Randle. I don't expect him to replicate his All-NBA season, but I think he's going to be pretty solid for New York. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is also going to go in decent. He's a young player who's a really solid three-point shooter, can play some solid defense too. He's not going to get a ton of looks, but I think he will start for us at the power forward position this upcoming season. But we'll see. We'll see how his season ends up going. Then we've got Jay Crowder, who is going to... I think Jay Crowder is going to go in decent. Jay Crowder was all right, but I mean, Jay Crowder's solid. The problem is he's been regressing, and I think as he's getting older, I think it's only going to get worse. So I'm going to leave him here decent for now. I might move him up. I'm just, I don't know how much longer Jay Crowder is going to be the answer there for Phoenix. I think eventually Cam Johnson might take a leap into that starting lineup. We'll see. But Jay Crowder, he's just getting pretty old at this point. Harrison Barnes, I'm going to put in this good tier as well. He's a solid scorer, solid defender, just does everything basically solid. Doug McDermott is going to go in this decent tier. It's Doug McDermott. He's going to hit a bunch of threes, not do too much else. Ben Simmons is going to go in the all-star tier. I think Ben Simmons has an all-star caliber year. He's going to put up defensive player of the year level defense, if assuming he comes back healthy. We'll have to see if there's complications. I don't expect him to shoot, but his playmaking, his rebounding, his defense is still super valuable. He does eventually need to learn to shoot, but I think his fit alongside Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who are both lights out shooters, as well as guys like Joe Harris and Seth Curry, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Simmons starts at the 5, to be honest. I think having him as a small ball 5 will eventually be their closing lineup. Have him surrounded by shooters. We'll see what he's able to do, and, maybe that kind of unlocks his game a little bit. PJ Washington is also going to go in decent. Once again, he's going to knock down some threes. He might have a bigger role for the Hornets this upcoming season with no Miles Bridges on the roster, but we'll have to see. Evan Mobley also going to go in this fringe all-star tier. I think he could make an all-star jump. I think having Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland as playmakers for him will be huge. I think he has an incredible season. It's just a case of, can the Cavaliers get 3, maybe even 4 all-stars with Jared Allen? I think he'll be in those conversations. He could make an all-defensive team too, and his huge leap that he's going to take, I can guarantee you, within the next few seasons, is maybe just a season away. Marvin Bagley, I'm also going to put in decent. He was really solid for the Detroit Pistons last year when he came into the fold of things. I'm excited to see what he continues to do. Draymond Green, I'm also going to put in all-star tier. I know a lot of people are down on Draymond Green. I still think he's really valuable to what the Golden State Warriors do. They don't win this championship this past year without him. Before he I believe he got hurt last season, he was firmly in Defensive Player of the Year talks. I think he'll be in those conversations once again. He is getting older, so maybe I should move him more so down here to fringe all-star. But I think but he's Draymond Green. Like once again, he's kind of just like PJ Tucker, but a lot higher on the tier list. He has the great defense, the playmaking. He doesn't shoot quite like PJ Tucker, so maybe that's why I should move him down. We'll come back to Draymond Green. I'll leave him in fringe for right now, but we'll come back to Draymond Green. Then we've got Nick Batum. He's decent. He's going to knock down threes, play solid defense. Marcus Morris is going to go in good. He's a bit more of the offensively focused power forward for the Clippers. I don't know if he'll start just because, of course, they have a lot of offensive options in total, but, we'll see. Anthony Davis, I'm going to put in all NBA. I don't want to put him in MVP candidate yet. I need to see how he plays when he's healthy. I'm excited to see him back, but ultimately we'll see what he's able to do. Will he go back to the shooting prior to this past season where he really struggled? Is it still going to be a problem? Once again, will he play the 4 or 5 a majority of his minutes? I still think for the Lakers to be their best version, he needs to commit to playing the 5, but does that cause more injury concerns? All these questions about AD, we'll see, but when he's healthy, he is at the worst an all-NBA caliber player. Kevin Durant is, of course, an MVP candidate alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're the 2 best players on this list easily. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm going to put in fringe all-star. He has foul trouble, of course, but he made some Defensive Player of the Year caliber noise. He's got to be more consistent offensively, cut out some of those fouls to really unlock the best version of his game. He's also going to miss the start of the season with an injury, but hopefully he's able to come back soon. So this is my tier list. Do I want to move? Part of me is thinking about moving Draymond Green up. I guess it's like, will Draymond Green be on the tier of Evan Mobley this upcoming season? It's tough to say because there's a lot of different guys like Jaren Jackson and, like Evan Mobley and Draymond Green are like really defensive guys. And you've got offensive guys like Christian Wood. Draymond Green is just so good in his role. He's almost like, it's like Ben Simmons, but a little bit lower. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to leave it like this. Draymond Green, I think you could put him in all-star or fringe all-star. But if I keep looking at this, it's going to take me forever. So this is the way I'm going to leave it. Let me know what you think about this tier list, what I got right, what I got wrong in the comment section below. I appreciate y'all watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. I'll see y'all later. A real one, say it back.